Today we're going to be ranking every single Batman movie. Let's get to it. Hey guys, I'm Abe from Treasure Boys, and I just want to say sorry we haven't been posting recently. We're hoping to get out more stuff later and get out more stuff now. So before I get into the rankings, I want to say that today is Batman Day. It's not the official worldwide Batman Day. This was what was the birthday of Detective Comics number 27. So before I get into ranking all the Batman movies, I want to say that Batman was he's just a big part of my life. I've always loved Batman. He's always been my favorite superhero, and it's just been I just love him. And one more thing, I'm not going to be including Justice League, Batman vs. Superman, or Joker, because Justice League and Joker aren't Batman movies, and Batman vs. Superman feels more like a Man of Steel sequel than anything. So let's get right to it. Coming in 10 is, Batman and Robin. What more is there to say? A lot of people say that this movie is just so fun to watch with like friends and make fun of, but I wasn't watching it with friends. I was watching it all by myself, and it got really bad at points. It is one of not only the worst Batman movie, but one of the worst superhero movies, top 5 for me. But it's just not a good movie at all. There's so many cringe lines in this movie, but anyways, I give it a 34% and an F. Coming in 9, we have Batman Forever. Now, it's a lot, just like Batman and Robin, it has some definitely cringy moments, but I definitely don't hate it as much as Batman and Robin. I feel like there's at least some times where I was like, that wasn't too bad. I think a lot of people don't like him, but I really like Jim Carrey as the Riddler for some reason. But of course, Two-Face was awful, and the whole Robin storyline was awful. Like, the scene where he's doing laundry is one of the worst scenes in any superhero movie. Ugh. But it does have a few redeeming qualities. So I give Batman Forever a 68% and a D. Now, I want to say all the movies from 8 to 1 I really enjoy. I think that these are all good to great to fantastic movies. But anyways, 8 is Batman Returns, and a lot of people don't like this movie, and I can see why. It was really weird. It was not a very Batman movie, but I liked it because they did something different and it worked. Like, it's not as good as the first Batman, but it's still a movie that I really enjoy, and I feel like the Penguin and Catwoman were definitely the stars. Like, they just were above everyone else, especially Catwoman in this movie was perfect. One of my favorite Batman characters in movie form. But anyways, I give Batman Returns an 85% and a B. Coming in 7 is a controversial one, Batman Mask of the Phantasm. But I want to say that this is still a great movie. Even though I have it at 7, it's still an A movie. It was so just I didn't think that it was possible to do like a Batman the Animated Series like movie that released in theaters, and it didn't really make much money, but it should have, because it was a really good movie. It had some of the great things in the animated series, and even put more into it, and it was just such a great movie. Like, they introduced a new character with the Phantasm, which is now by Batman fans a favorite character that everyone loves. So Batman Mask of the Phantasm gets a 91% and an A. Coming in number 6 is Batman the movie. The old 1966 movie. The old Adam West. I love this movie because it's not like the dark, gritty Batman that we know. This was back in the 60s when Batman, I mean, he was like, he was just kind of a joke. He was kind of a joke, but people still loved him, and they loved the 60s series, and then they made a movie, and it was just a lot of fun. It's just such a fun movie, and a lot of people don't like this movie, and of course it has some problems, but it's a 60s movie. It's like a movie in the 60s, so it's hard to judge, and it's just a movie that I love to rewatch, and I give it a 92% and an A. Coming at number 5 is Batman 1989. Now, this one, it hurts to have in a top 10 list at 5, because this movie was a big part of when I was growing up. I love this movie. I would just watch it over and over every day. This was one of my favorite movie when I was like 7 years old. It's just so nostalgic to me, and even now I feel like it holds up. I mean, of course now we have the Christopher Nolan trilogy, which is amazing, but it's still a movie that I love to rewatch just for the nostalgia factor. And this introduced us to, like, this was the first Batman movie we had with like the dark Batman, and I felt like it really worked. I really loved it, and Jack Nicholson gave a great performance. Michael Keaton is a really good Batman, but I give Batman a 94% and an A. Coming in 4 is the Lego Batman movie. I mean, I remember going to see this in the theaters. I was like, oh, this is gonna be a lot of fun, but it was like a great movie for Batman fans because there's just so much, like, all the jokes in it, like Alfred mentioning, you've went through several phases, and he was mentioning all the Batman movies, and just all these great moments, and I just felt like like Batman the movie, it's a lot of fun, and also with that, it's the most I feel like the most personal Batman story we ever got, where we got to see, like, what he, like, really fears is, like, starting a family again because of what happened at a young age. And it's just, some of the parts are just like, wow, I didn't expect that from the Lego Batman movie. And just such a surprising, great movie. Check out the Lego movie as well. But the Lego Batman movie gets a 94% and an A. Coming in at number 3 is Batman Begins. Such a great movie to start off the Christopher Nolan trilogy. I remember seeing this when I was really young and being like, I remember I didn't, like, understand it because I was, like, really young, and I had to, like, close my eyes at, like, 7 different scenes because I was, like, 6 years old, and just this movie. And then later, when I watched it again, it was just, I was like, wow, that was such a good movie. And it's a lot of people have it ahead of the movie that I have at number 2, and I can see why. But there's just so many, like, this started off probably my favorite movie trilogy of all time. Not the best, my favorite, and it's just such a great movie. I give Batman Begins a 95% and an A. Now, our runner-up is The Dark Knight Rises. I love this movie. It's actually, I saw this before I saw The Dark Knight, so I was kind of confused, but I still loved it as a 7 or 8 year old. So this movie was just so great. I love this movie. And they took risks. That's what I love, because a lot of people didn't like the risks they took with, but I love them. Of course, there's that one bad scene where Talia al Ghul dies, and it's kind of dumb. But Bane in this movie is my opinion, the second best Batman villain we've seen on screen. He just knocked it out of the park. And Christian Bale as Batman is just so. He's great as always in these movies, and it's just so many great moments in these movies. Like when he's in the cave and he's climbing out of the cave, and they're like all chanting the rise, and then he finally makes that jump. A lot of people felt like they didn't like that, but I felt like it was so earned because he had that motivation that he needed to get back up there. He needed to save the city. But just, man, The Dark Knight Rises is almost a 100% S. But I give The Dark Knight Rises a 99% on the S tier. Coming in at number 1, I love this movie, The Dark Knight. Who cannot love this movie? This is one, I'm going to say it right here, this is my favorite movie of all time. And I don't think there's anything wrong with this movie. Every time I watch it, I'm just blown away by how perfect, amazing, how much it just like hits you with like, for example, the Joker played by Heath Ledger was so good. One of the best, not just superhero performances, one of the best performances we have ever gotten in film history. And Christian Bale's at his best, of course. It's just, and then something that people, I feel like, don't talk about enough is Two-Face in this movie, played by, I believe it's Aaron Eckhart. Yeah, I believe it's Aaron Eckhart, who just, I feel like, because Heath Ledger's Joker is so good, we forget about Two-Face in this movie, and I feel like we should think about him more, because he's just one of the best Batman villains in any movies, but of course Heath Ledger takes that. It's just a movie that really, when I watched it, I was just blown away by how amazing and how much I just love this movie. I could watch it all day, 24/7. The Dark Knight gets a 100% and an S and takes the title of my favorite movie of all time. I just want to say that these movies are just great. Of course, with the exception for 2 of them, they're all so great. And I feel like out of all the rankings I've done Star Wars, I've done Marvel, this is the best out of all those 3. Of course, Marvel has the whole connected thing, but these have the best movies out of all of those. These just, I love the Batman movies. I don't have much more to say. I love them. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and wash your hands. And that'll about do it. Happy Batman Day, everyone.
I wasn't paying attention.